All
Let's
right,
do
folks.
this thing.
It's time to get started. How's everybody doing? Looks like there's 5 concurrent viewers. Awesome. I don't know if people are just getting turned off to the stream or if they are just relying on the VODs, the after stuff, or being able to access it after, but whatever. We're here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right. So here's the plan. We are going to go over lesson 14, which is a lot of individual like tools that you might want to use for your personal app and your create task, and we are going to go over some expectations for the due date coming up and the calendar and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get going. Let's see if this still works. Beautiful. All right, so today this is no longer relevant, and there is still a form that everybody needs to fill out. Um, if there is an announcement on the Google Classroom page for on this Google Classroom page, it's for everybody unless it says specifically otherwise. So go ahead and fill this out. Mr. Drusi, do you know how many people you have completed this so far?
No, I don't think we have access.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the AP administrators just want as much feedback as they can get. So
Is this through Miss Blaha?
yeah, the AP exam. Yeah, they're just
Okay.
trying to figure out what like resources are needed for people taking the AP.
Gotcha. Okay. So do that. If you haven't already, my students need to do the check-in assignment through their original Google Classroom. You just need to add a simple, um, like a blank uh, Google Doc, put your name on it, and hit submit. And here are some other questions. We have the shared folder for Explore Task, which we should. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let's get a link for the video and attach that. My channel and Explore Task. There, get to share link. I don't want that. Let's share. I want to share. I want to get to share link. Nope, nothing's working right now. We'll deal with it later. Okay, and um, the question situation. Let's move that to the top so that, um, well, I mean, it's all important. Well, it's here if you um, want to ask a question, which you possibly will. Okay, so let's take a look. Today we are going to finish lesson 14 on code, and we are not going to have official streams tomorrow and Friday, or I should say, uh, no stream, not official or otherwise. And um, so this is your time to work on everything up through lesson 14. On Monday, we're going to do a question and answer stream for any issues you have with um, that lessons 1 through, or excuse me, up through 14. I think in my class we stopped short, or there may have been the due date for the Madlib app all the way back in lesson 6, but we haven't graded it, so um, you could still, that's still available if you haven't done it yet. And then there is the Color Sleuth app, which we also I hadn't locked off yet, which we still did way back in class, so you should be done with that. But if you haven't, you're lucky. you could do it now. And then the one we're working on today is the image scroller, which is like the list app, except you're going to use image URLs, and we'll lock it. I mean, somebody always asks when we are going to lock off or close out the the actual deadline will be the end of the day on Tuesday, and um, that's it. Not accepting anything after Tuesday because we have to get grades in for third quarter, and that's a ton of stuff to grade for each of us. That's all of the bubbles. Lesson 7, I believe, um, was not something you needed to worry about because it was worksheet stuff. But all of the bubbles, all the activities, there are 3 major projects: the Lesson 6 MadLib app, the Lesson 10 Color Sleuth app, and the one we're doing today, the image scroller. I just said that. And also all of the text responses, which are the AP practice responses and the check your understandings. They'll all be separate grades, but you need to do them all. So don't worry about that. Just go ahead and complete it. All right, so let's start with. Did we have any questions from lesson 13, Mr. DeRusi?
No, I don't think we do.
Okay, good. So we're going to go on to lesson 14. Lesson 14 carries over, or the project carries over your code from the list app, which is good and bad, depending on if your code is good. But let's take a look here at lesson 14. We're getting new event handlers. So the idea is that instead of just adding text, you'll add or be able to add image URLs, which will add new pictures to your list that is able to cycle through. And we'll do some refactoring to make the old code work better and be more concise. And question in chat: does AP Computer Science have an AP exam? The AP exam is just the 2 performance tests. There isn't like a multiple choice sit down thing anymore. All right. All right. So, like I said, a lot of these are the some tools that you are now going to be able to use, and you might not need to use them, but there are more tools in your toolbox. So, some things. We've been using this on event handler a lot, where we've been using it has the parameters: what item is being affected, how it's being affected, and we haven't up until now used event in the function parameter, but that is depending on what the event is, it can be used as a parameter. Parameter just makes a function more useful or more versatile, where like if you have a mouse click, you could have event dot on screen 1 mouse down, key is event dot x. I think this should work. Let's see here. Mouse x is, let's see if this works. On click. Yep. So you can retrieve the value of a click. The way they have it is they are just asking the program to console log when you're on screen 1 and on key press. Key is event.key, and you run. If you type anything, it should. No, it's not on key press. Oh yeah. It will tell you what the function is console logging this string and the event. The event is just the vague parameter. The key for that event. And you can see down here in the console log, it is still working, although it's not working for the up and down arrows, but we will use that in a second. Okay, so hold on, let's run this again. No, let's go back 2 seconds. Event dot, no, let's go back to start over. Let's see what we are supposed to. So this doesn't really make sense because we are designing our apps to be essentially mobile apps or web pages that look like mobile apps. So when you're in the app, there isn't really a key press. Like when you're holding the phone, there isn't a keyboard, but in AppLab it sort of makes sense. So when this is active, we should be able to get a key. Up and down don't work at this time. It's asking you to sort of explore what happens when you, okay, so we can use number keys, shift something. Shift does work, although for some reason it wasn't working before. You can see here we have capital letters. Does the delete key work? No, delete doesn't work. What does backspace doesn't work? Arrows don't work at this point, but arrows will work later. And if you hold it down, it's that. Okay, so that's a reason why you might want to use a different situation like key up, because on key press, the way we had it, if you hold down a letter, it does it again and again, where if you have it set to on key up, that's one way of limiting the number of times a particular event is recorded. So the point of this is just so that you understand these tools. Okay, so key up and key down. On event, screen one is key press. Event, let's see, does this bring it out? Yeah. Isn't that what we just did? On event, key up. Click key up, key down. Oh no, it's the same thing. It's just what I just said. Again, I always have a tendency to jump ahead and answer the next question. All right, so this has tended to be kind of loud. Let me see if I can make sure that doesn't ruin things. All right, so on event, screen one is clicked. It will play the sound that links to a URL of a MP3. And so if we click a button, yeah, it's kind of loud. Let me turn my stuff down. Okay, and it's still console logging the key that is pressed. Add an if statement so that it only plays if the up. So we'll say if key. Oh no, if event dot key equals up. So should only work if you click the up key, although for some reason it wasn't working a second ago. Okay, yeah, it does work. So for up arrow, it's just up in quotes like a string, and you can guess what down, right, and left are. For real Java code, every key has a number assigned to it. JS key codes, and yeah, so this site you can figure out. Okay, so left arrow is key code 37, 38, 39 are down. Every letter has a number assigned to it, and I think they might be, are they? No, they aren't exactly correlated with the ASCII codes, if you remember that chart, but they are agreed upon. Okay, so you could use any key. You're checking to see if the key is something, one particular key, and something will happen if you're using the if statement for that. Okay, bubble 6, we are um, trying to hold on, run. Oh, jeez. This is super loud. Let me try not to hurt you guys. Although you also have volume. So let's reset. Run. Oh, I gotta actually do it. That's from before. Okay, so we want a else if statement. Right now, if we have key up, it plays. Well, it starts out playing this sound. Let's not have it play on the go. So on key down, if key is up, it plays this sound. Else, we want to play this other sound. The problem is right now, up plays that sound, and down plays that sound, but every key plays that sound, and which is why super annoying. But that's because we have if key equals up, play this, else play this. If we only want it to happen on a particular key, we want to switch it to an else if, which the shortcut is just to add one and remove one. But you can also go to text and well, actually, let's go back to what we had. Okay, so this is the what you're starting out with, just an if statement. If you add one, it's an if else, but we don't want an if else. We want an if else if, and you still need. Do you need? Yeah, because it's another if statement. We need another if event.key equals down. So let's put that in there. And that's when we can put this into there. So here it's only going to play if it's down, which, and if you have an else, an if and an else if, and it doesn't end in just an else, they could be separate if statements. It's not super critical. But here we have up is that, down is that, although this kind of sounds like a down button, but whatever. That is the gist of that. Some more if else. Okay, let's go back here. Let's do this one over. Oh no. Count, do, yeah, this will be fine. Okay, buttons and keys. So here, I'm gonna turn this, it's still hurting my ears. Might be hurting your ears. So here we have an up arrow that does this, and a down arrow that does that. But we want to be able to do the up arrow using the button and the up arrow using the up key and have everything still work. And because we want the same thing to happen several times, it makes sense to create a function, and they suggest making one function a well, first we need to create the two things where, okay, on event, still screen one, we need to do the if, else if situation, where you can just go like that, if event dot key double equals up, then we want everything, that's our up statement, but we are going to do something. So instead of copying this in there, we'll do a thing in a second. Else if event dot key double equals down. And so normally we would, so up image, we would copy this and put this in the event situation where if you hit the up arrow or the up image or the up key on the keyboard, the same thing happens. But this is a great opportunity to add a function because the same thing is happening several times. So they suggest calling this one, is this the do up arrow? Oh no, again, this is me getting ahead of myself. This is where all you need to do for this one is have the down. We'll get rid of this for now. We have up image and up key both do the same thing, and down image and down key both do the same thing. So that's all you need to do for this, but you can notice that we're doing the same thing several times or multiple times. We want to avoid that redundancy, and we're going to refactor our code. So we're going to create a function to simplify things. We're going to have a function called do up arrow, and in do up arrow we are going to put everything that we use in the up situation, and then we're going to call that function here so that, okay, so we have our starting starting variables and starting situations. We have a function definition, and let's just spread this out so that you can see better. Okay, so our function do up arrow is the same thing. We want that here on up image, and we want that on up key, which is like this. So we're calling do up arrow both places, and you guessed it, we're going to have another function called do down arrow, and in that we'll put everything we have for down image, and then we can just call do down arrow here, and the same thing here. We can get rid of this code and put in the function do down arrow. Okay, and it still should work. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. All right, so let's go back to where we left this yesterday. I don't want to completely start over. All right, so this was our image scroll or favorite thing text app where we had the letters we could scroll through. We already had the count label update with this concatenation. I showed you how to add a delete button, and the add situation that would add another item. It would update every time, and if you didn't do that, you need to do that first, because we're about to do that here, but also change some things so that it can work for images. Okay, so we're getting a new tool called set image URL, and in order for this to work, let's go ahead and we're going to have our fav list just start out as an empty array, still with current index. We need to get rid of the text area, which we can just delete, and add a image, a blank or an image canvas or location. And the other thing that I'm going to do is name all of my buttons, because it'll be easier that way, which I didn't do the first time, but still best practices. Next button, last button, and I'm going to have to go through and change the IDs in the event handlers. Text input, image 1, there's only one image, that's fine. And our code for label 2 should still work. Let's call this delete, doesn't really matter. Image, and make it a little bit bigger. And for no reason at all, let's pick a different color. I don't know why I'm bothering. And let's go to confirmation screen. This is called confirm button, and it's called cancel button. Good. All right, so let's go back to the code. Let's call this function update screen and update screen, and instead of set text area, we're going to use set image URL. And instead of just starting out with a long list of image URLs, we're going to use append item to start, just to give us a few items to start with. So let's go and put that there, and let's copy this, and we are going to need to go through and add some image URLs. So we're calling update screen at the beginning, and give me a second just to spread this out. We're going to have to go through and refactor everything to simplify things. I wish there was a way you could just add the white space from code blocks. But let's add some images. We got some awesome puppy images. Let's add this one. Remember, right click, get image, copy image address, and and it's going to be in the string. So this should work on the first one. Nope. Oh, because I have to go through and fix the buttons. Okay. So this button 2 was index goes up. So this is for next button. And our function is called update screen. So let's fix that. And this is index goes down. So this was last button. And our function is called update screen. And button 3 was add button. And we still want to call this. And we are getting the text from that. Oh no, we're inserting item current index. So this still works. We're getting the text of this, which the URL is text, and adding it to our list. And let's see here, reset run. We should get at least the first picture. No, we have did we set image? Oh no, we gotta get rid of this. And the name of the image area is image 1. Okay, so this should work. Nope. That's because I didn't change. I don't want to set the image 1 image to a particular URL. I want to set it to faveless index current index. There we go. Now for the 5th time, this should work. Boom, first picture. Okay, we don't have anything for the other ones. Let's get 3 more random pictures. Copy image address. Put that in this one. And another picture. Oh no, that's the weird one. Let's do this. Copy image address. Put that here. And let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. And we should be able to delete an image. Do we want to delete it? Yes. Now, what happened? Oops, we can't update. Oh, we are not using update text yet. We gotta put that everywhere. Probably didn't need to rename it, but it makes more sense now. Let's try again. Reset. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's delete this one, delete image, delete, yep, 2 of 2. Okay, and something found earlier, the way my particular code is set up, if I try to delete the last image, if I go delete image and hit delete, it tries to set the image to a URL from the index 3, which doesn't exist now. Oh, well, index 2, but the last item. So I need to change something, and I'm just to simplify things, I'm going to, anytime I hit the confirm button, which is the real delete button, the delete button just lets you see the confirm button, I'm going to reassign cur index. I could do 2 things. I could do set it to 0, which would put it at the beginning. When I hit delete, run, go to the last one, hit delete, confirm, it goes back to the beginning. The other option I could do is set it to 1 less. Then when you delete the last image, it will go to the new last image. Just thought of that. So now I go to image 3, I hit delete, hit delete, and it goes to the final one. I like that. You could set it up to go to reset to the first image in the list, but that's fine. All right, so what else do we need to do? Tester app. So we should be able to, when we hit the add button, it should get text and insert it to the favorite list, insert it at the current place in the list, and we're going to get the text. So let's get another image. Get image address, and when we run it, everything still works. Let's add it here. Right click, paste, hit add. Good, 2 of 4, and now they're still there, and everything should still work. Okay, so that's set image URL, and that is the situation for, that is what you need to accomplish for this image scroller app. Let's see. Create functions, call out repeated tasks, readable, consistent. Refactor old code. So we have this working. If this as it is would be full credit for the image scroller app, and I think what you'll notice, let's see, I'm pretty sure this will happen. If you go back to lesson 13, the final, is this? Yeah, lesson 13, it probably has linked it. Yeah, so lesson 13 was just adding or using text, but because it's linked to lesson 14, you can't really go back. But so that the lesson 13 text favorite things app isn't going to be a grade because it is built in to the lesson 14 app, but you can't, it doesn't really matter because it is the same thing, it's just with URLs. And so let's see if we can do this, add the ability to key events, refactor your old code, keep adding to the program. Okay, what are other features? Let's see what they think other features should be. They have a do next item function and do last item. Let's see what those do. Do next item. Oh, so they have some stuff that if the list, like right now, if ours, if we delete everything, it will probably break. Oh, look at this. I have my delete goes to the one before. I can't do, I'd have to put an if statement in this when we solved that problem before, where when you hit the delete, the confirm button, it takes one away from the index, which if the index was 0 or the first item in the list, it goes back and it tries to display something else. So there would need to be an if statement, like if cur index is equal to 0, then we want to set cur index to 0. Well, we wouldn't need to. We would just not take away 1. If, oh, we could just do this in one statement. Okay. If current index is not 0, this is some advanced stuff. If current index is not 0, meaning anything other than the beginning, take 1 away. If current index is not, oh shoot, we need that here. Well, we're going to have to type it in. If current index index is not equal to 0, we want to take 1 away from current index. This keeps us from having the list stay past the end, past the end of the list, but if it is the first item of the list, it doesn't try to go to -1 index. So we are just checking to see if we are the first item of the list, which if we try to delete the first item of the list now, it goes to the current, well, the remaining first item, but if we try to delete the last item in the list, it goes to the new last. So that's one solution to that. They also have, so that's that. Do next item. If is greater than 0, current index, if current is, so this is their wraparound function, and they're running update display every time, which is if everything is, if the length is greater than 0, run update display, else. So there's, if you delete everything, oh, it still doesn't fix it, but that's fine. I'm not worried if you don't have a situation to solve delete everything. Well, you could do it very easily where in the update screen, which is the thing that we call constantly, all we need to do is, again, if fave list dot length does not equal 0, meaning this is saying, is there anything in the list? We want to do this. And otherwise, what do we want to do if there's nothing in the list? Let's set text of, well, we don't have a text thing. You wouldn't have to do this, but let's text area, and let's start out with this hidden, and then we can say update screen if fave list greater than hide hide a text area. Yeah, this is kind of unnecessary, but let's, and we will show image 1. Set the image, do this. Otherwise, set text of text area 1 to list, or let's just call it empty list, and we want to show the text area and hide the image 1. Let's see if that works. Run, everything still works. We delete this, we delete this, and we delete this. Empty list, and so this is working. Let's copy image address and paste it in there and add. Hey, that works. Fantastic. Even if you're not impressed, I'm impressed with myself. So we have update screen. We've solved a few problems. I don't expect that. I do, the way I'm going to check your app is start it up, make sure it goes all the way around. Well, you need 3 images to start, just like you had 3 items before. Make sure it goes all the way around positive, make sure it goes all the way around negative, and then add an item, see if that works, and then delete an item, and to a confirmation screen. And is that in the code that you need I suppose you don't need a confirmation screen. You could just put all of the let's we could make this a on event delete button. So this would be not have any confirmation, where we could just hit delete and it would work right away. So you don't need a confirmation screen. You could have a confirmation screen if you want, but the way I'm going to check is to see if it goes around one way, goes around the other way, add an image, delete an image. That's what you need to do for the app. And do we have any questions? Mr. DeRusi. Okay, so people in chat, do you guys have anything to ask about anything about the previous apps, like the Madlib app? I mean, I can show you essentially the grading technique that I'm going to use for that is it's relatively quick, just checking functionality. Well, for the Madlib app, we need which one was it? 6. My students have and this was from way back, so there's not really any excuse. Let's see if it's back on here. I'm pretty sure I have a Unit 5. Yeah, in the Unit 5 shared folder. This is for my students. We do have a rubric for the Madlib app, and I'm just going to go through and check to see if it has all these things. Super easy. Just make sure you go through that. And the other...
Just real quick, just for my students, I didn't give you a rubric, but the rubric is essentially stating what the instructions say on the app itself. So just make sure you have those listed on the app.
Yeah, if you work through the bubbles, this is for Mr. DeRusi, there are, if you work through the bubbles, you'll be fine. For my students, there's a point where, is this the one that says above and beyond? Well, at some point it gives you all of the tools to follow that rubric. So there's that. Let me get a shareable link, and we'll put this here. Madlib app rubric. And can I? That's not what I want. How can I make this a? Insert link, and let's go like that. That's like that, and this should be able to get to, yeah, okay. So that is the rubric that my students will be going by, which is very similar. So don't feel like you are being put out by not or by having to follow this. It's just more specific. And the way I'm going to grade the Color Sleuth app is making sure that it works, essentially. Let's see, does this work? Hit run. It needs to... mine, I've gone back too far that it doesn't work. Hit run, random color, Click on one. Players need to switch. Score needs to go up. Score needs to go down. And eventually there needs to be a game over, like a win condition. In this case, does it check correct, check game over? Yeah, if score is greater than or equal to 10. And remember, you're using greater than or equal to any time that where a number might not hit exactly 10, because in this game, if you have it losing 3 points for a wrong and gaining 1 for a correct, or something other than up 1, up 1, down 1, you would you might not hit 10 exactly, and so you're, instead of checking if player 1 score is 10, you could get over 10. And then there are AP practice responses and check your understandings all the way through. Make sure you have all those done. They are not that difficult. Just read the question and respond to the question. Type it out. It's not very difficult. If you have questions about that, make sure you answer the form, or put something in the form, or ask your question in the form that is on the Google Classroom. And if we can't, can we, are there any, I think that should be about it, right?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everyone's like what's due, the deadlines and all that stuff. I see Mary asking. Lessons 15 and 16. So this weekend is coming up is like a holiday weekend slash end of the marketing period slash. It's a pretty crazy marketing timeline right now. So you asked if lessons 15 and 16. We're not going to be doing anything with lessons 15 and 16. So probably I'm going to say like Wednesday next week.
Well, we might do it on Tuesday, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be graded for the, exactly.
Just because of how kind of wacky everything is right now.
Plus, I mean, this is a ton of work for us to grade before deadline, before having to get stuff in. Okay?
So 15, 16. You can always work ahead. You can always get as much done as you can. That's what we kind of recommend.
Yeah.
And then if you have questions, ask the questions.
Yeah. And don't forget about Explore Task. You have all the instruction out there. If you have a question, we'll just call this question and answer stream. If you, I don't see us actually having that many questions, but anything to do with it, or explore task. Let's see here. Does Control 9 work? Yeah. So, but that always goes to the wrong thing. Or explore task. Okay, so that should wrap things up, and I'll see you guys, or you can watch it later. I'll see you. We'll stream again on Monday. I'll have the time up for that at some point, I don't know, the night before, I guess. Okay, so that's it for today, and see you later.